Hello, 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 and welcome to another video. If you aren't subscribed already, my name is Brian Turner, and today I want to have a little bit of a sit-down conversation with you guys, as we've done recently on the channel, because I think it's important for us to discuss the philosophy and discuss kind of the different strategies and ways that we can get veganism out there. So today, I want to dive into the 5 biggest obstacles in the way of mass adoption for veganism. Now, if you follow me really closely, or if you follow some of my private pages like Brian's Getting Personal on Instagram, or my second YouTube channel, you know that I'm into financial markets. It's something I've really gotten interested in recently, and because I'm looking at markets constantly, it's kind of drew a parallel with veganism, because veganism is being adopted rapidly. It's growing faster than it ever has, exponentially each year. It's increasing faster than it has previously, but yet it still isn't what we would say is massively adopted. And to get to that point of mass adoption, what do we need to do? I think it's very important, and I think very useful for us to discuss kind of the strategies of what's holding us back from having more people join in each year. And today, I want to talk about the 5 things that we can improve to make that mass adoption rate increase. Okay, for the sake of keeping this video on point and quick, I'm just gonna jump right into these 5, but if you have anything you'd like to add on or anything you think I didn't address, leave it in the comments below. Now, the first barrier in the way of mass adoption, I think, is that most people still think that veganism is extremely expensive. Regardless, I think a lot of people think that even if you're gonna cook on your own, it's expensive, and if you're gonna eat out at restaurants and eat alternative products, it's gonna be expensive. As we all know, that's not true. The only thing that's gonna make veganism as expensive is if you choose to eat expensive places, just like if you're eating when you're not vegan. You know what I mean? If you go to restaurants that cost $20 per plate and you're spending, $60 to $100 a day, yes, it's gonna get expensive. But rice, beans, potatoes, pasta, etc., 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 are very, very cheap. Now, I've addressed this in a lot of other videos, so we'll just move on to the next one. Number 2, and these are in no particular order. Number 2 is that people still think it's difficult. Now, this one, I will concede that it is a bit more difficult than not ever caring about your food at all, because I would say that that is the difference. A lot of people who aren't vegan already in the first place don't care about what they're eating. Like, they don't care about their health at all. And then when you jump to veganism, a lot of times people are pushing kind of a healthier agenda on you. And so just that transition from unhealthy to healthy can be very difficult, regardless of the veganism aspect of it. But I would say that it's a little bit overblown that it's gonna be impossible to go vegan, because it is so difficult. People make it sound like you're literally gonna be waking up in the morning to milk your almond nuts to get almond milk.
So this is a tandem nut milker. It milks 2 nuts at a time. It's comfortable for them. They want to be milked. You'll never see a happier nut than a freshly milked nut. Nothing makes me happier than knowing that my hard work went into making this nut milk happen.
That bad. Now, this kind of goes along parallel with the last point, is that you can make it really difficult or you can make it really easy. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, those are vegan. Mushroom fettuccine alfredo made from cashews, also vegan. One's easier, one's harder. You can fill your life with very difficult things or fill your life with very easy things. But one thing that is true is that you can eat easy or hard, and both will be able to provide you all the nutritional needs that you need once you've looked into your diet a little bit. Okay, number 3. Now, this is one that I think is very important, but it's really hard for a lot of vegans to see this until you have the example hit you in the face. So last week I went to Eat Drink Vegan, which is just a big vegan festival, and I brought my brother, who is not vegan but is really interested in it and wants to turn vegan, but he's not 100% yet. And the thing that he said is that he was really nervous to go to a veg fest, and he's always been kind of wary about joining me because he was afraid that people would judge him for not being 100% vegan. I think a lot of people feel that vegans will not accept you or encourage you if you are not coming 100% perfect on your first day to veganism. And that's definitely not true, which was cool because my brother, LP, came with me, and then afterwards he was like, everybody was so nice. No one asked me if I was even vegan. Everyone was just telling me what their favorite food was. Everyone was explaining to me what improved for them when they went vegan. It was a very positive atmosphere. Everybody was really welcoming, and that's something that a lot of people don't realize is the truth. But it is the truth. Vegans are generally really nice and really welcoming. Now, number 4, we have to address social media a little bit, because that is a driving factor to the adoption of veganism, but it is also a driving factor to the deterrence of veganism. So number 4 is anti-vegan / carnivore channels who are doing everything that they possibly can to create propaganda, to spread as many false lies as possible, to make veganism look like this thing that's going to completely damage and destroy you. You guys have seen probably some of these channels. You've seen some of the stuff they say, and I've seen anti-nutrients comments for like 3 months now. A lot of ex-vegans will say you can't get your vitamins and minerals in from vegetables and fruit, which is where we've always thought of vitamins and minerals coming from, because there's anti-nutrients that block those nutrients. And in the meantime, they dismiss every single scientific study and review and article that proves anything other than the fact that you cannot stay alive as a vegan, which we all know is false, because a lot of us have been vegan for decades. And number 5, the carnivore's favorite new friend, ex-vegans. Ex-vegans are people who used to post about veganism and used to be vegan on their social media, and then one day, for whatever reason, they flipped and went the opposite direction and are not vegan and are now producing social media content. These little snippets and little video clips and things of people saying that I was dizzy, or all of a sudden I had an erection which I wasn't able to get before, or whatever it is, have been copied and pasted and soundbited to the max and are being used by ex-vegans and just people who don't like vegans in general to be like, see, there's the proof. But no one ever does that with anything else, right? Like if you just go to the hospital and point it at a bunch of people, you could be like, look, this whole country, it's proven that you won't be able to live healthily in this country because look at all these people dying. It's like, that's not a great argument, but it is the argument they are making, and it is an argument that for some reason people listen to. Okay, so there are my top 5 reasons or obstacles in the way of veganism being adopted more. If you have anything that you think is a better top 5 reason, please, I'd love to see it in the comments below. I'm gonna blast through 5 or 6 more other things that I think are or were problems before but are being addressed well or have already been addressed now. So this is things that used to be obstacles that aren't anymore. People think that they can't build muscle, but I think a lot of us have disproven this, and I think it's only getting better as more people prove that you can. Next, generational norms. As the younger people get older, our older people will be the younger people of today, if that makes sense. A lot of older people are really resistant to technological advances and improvements and updates, as well as just anything that they've gotten used to habitually, and food is one of those things. But as our 20-year-olds of today turn into the 6-year-olds of tomorrow, it's going to be a whole different world. Next up is traditions and culture. This hasn't changed tons, but it has made some headway. There are loads of different cultures that have like recipe books that are vegan now. Like there's an Indian recipe book that basically if you're from a specific culture and your family is really nervous that you aren't going to partake in the lunches and dinners and meals and things like that, now you can be like, look, I can still have that veggie korma or whatever, but now it's not going to have this or that, it's going to have this or that. Next up is easy vegan options. If you jump back to 1990s, it would be impossible for you to find vegan options anywhere except for, of course, baked potatoes and french fries. Now, if you are a brand new vegan, you immediately can open your phone up and see 60 different places within a mile of you. There's Taco Bell, there's Burger King, there's Carl's Jr., there's like 100 different places now that offer very quick and easy, convenient vegan options. Awareness of veganism as a whole, but also veganism as labels on clothing, on products, on food. Just because people didn't know what veganism meant, they knew what vegetarianism meant, and they were getting those two mixed. Now I think that's changed, and people know what veganism is. Plus, now we have the different logos and things that people will put on the products, on soaps and on different food products and stuff, where it's just a little bunny or it has a little V with a circle around it. That's an easy way to identify veganism, and it brings awareness, which then leads to adoption. And finally, studies and proof. I think before we were lacking in it, now every year we have just this growing library volume of different proofs and scientific studies and things that show that veganism is a healthy thing to do. It is a completely sustainable and possible thing to do, and there's nothing to worry about. And I think that's grown so much that that has now become not an issue, because you can Google and find a lot of information about veganism. I realize that this video had a lot of me talking in it. Sometimes I get a little bit, when I'm editing, I hear my voice so much that I'm like, man, I feel like I should break this up. But I realize that these discussions need to be had, like I said earlier, and I like to have these discussions with you, and they've done so well with you guys. Like, people with differing opinions even are having a really mature and useful conversation in the comments versus being like, hey, you're an idiot for thinking this or that way. Instead, it's more like, hey, you made this point, here's kind of what I think about that point. And I think that is awesome that we're creating this kind of a discussion. So again, if you have anything to add, put it in the comments below. I'd love to see more of this discussion happening. And with that, that brings us to the end of this video. If you guys aren't subscribed to my other channels, make sure you check out my acne channel, Team Acne. And if you aren't subscribed to my podcast, check that out, Beyond the Podcast, on the podcast app. And in the next video that I will be putting up on the channel, we will be doing another World Vegan News episode. So I'm freaking pumped about that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Team Beyond the Week, CT.
Lift heavy or die Myron, motherfucker.
Team Beyond the Week,
CT. Lift heavy or die